So if you are a woman over 40 or a woman over 50, there's a good chance that you are wondering why you are beginning to gain weight. Even more so, you're probably wondering, why is it that the things that you are doing that have normally worked in the past are not working for you anymore? More importantly, you're probably wondering, what is it that you should be doing? Because there's a good chance that you're doing all the right things, all the things that you know to do, and still nothing is working. If you're anything like me, then I know how you feel. It is so frustrating. So today I'm going to share with you a few things that I've learned, some things I've changed, and some things that I'm doing differently in order to adjust to this season of my life. So of course, one of the biggest things that have changed, of course, is your hormones. Yes, perimenopause, premenopause, menopause, all of the above. Essentially, what that means is there's been changes in your hormones. Like it or not, that is just a fact. It is nature, it is natural, and it is just something that we as women, we all go through. And it's really, really interesting because a lot of the research that has been done in the past as it relates to fitness and exercise and weight loss and all of that has mostly been done on men. And so what we're discovering is that it just is not applicable to women. Go figure. We're not built like men, and our bodies are different. And so therefore our bodies require different things. And so I would say that I think that we as women, we're lucky, right? We're lucky because we are now in a season where there is more information, there's more evidence. We're now able to see that certain things that have been told to us, they don't work, right? They are not working. And at least if I can speak for myself, a lot of it has not been working. And so yes, I am someone who, to be honest with you, I've never really struggled with weight or anything of that nature. But this last few years, it has thrown me for a loop. And so, yes, it can be very frustrating. But I'm going to look down because I have some notes. And so also research has shown that, to be honest, menopause symptoms can start as early as in the 30s. And so if you're a woman who is even in your 30s and you're starting to notice some signs of menopause, it's very, very possible that you're starting to notice shifts in your hormones. And that would make sense, right? Because when you think about the research as it relates to fertility, what's the age that they tell women that they need to be done having babies? 35. And why is that? It's definitely because by that time, hormones are changing, hormone levels are dropping, women's bodies are changing, and therefore not producing the level of hormone that it was previously. So it makes sense, right, for women who are experiencing signs or symptoms of menopause even in their 30s. It's consistent with the research. And to be honest, I think we need to think of menopause as a continuum, right? You don't go to sleep at 34 or at 39 or at 45 and wake up the next day in menopause. No, it's more of a gradual shift for most women, unless you have surgery, right? Unless you have a surgical hysterectomy where they remove the uterus or the uterus and ovaries, and therefore you are thrown into menopause overnight. But most women, it's going to be a gradual process. So what are some of the symptoms of menopause? Signs of menopause do vary significantly from one woman to the other. Some of the common signs and symptoms include, of course, things such as hot flashes, mood changes, general fatigue, depression, brain fog. Oh my gosh, brain fog. That's a big one. And it is nothing to be played with. It can be scary to have brain fog. And if you've experienced that, I know that you know what I mean. Specifically, for Black women, the research has shown that menopause can start sooner, and it can be more physically and emotionally challenging for Black women for a number of reasons, including women are experiencing more severe symptoms and not having the access to the resources in order to resolve the symptoms as easily. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to make this video and share this information for you, especially if you're a Black woman, right? And you're trying to figure out what to do, what things you can implement, what changes can you take, because I personally have had to make some changes, and I want to share with you some of my progress, some of my growth, what I'm seeing. And but let's get into some things that I am not doing anymore. I am not doing this anymore, and a lot of it had to be a mindset change for me as I'm coming to terms with the fact that my body is changing. It is not what it used to be. I am not the person I used to be, but rather I'm thinking forward. What I'm not doing, number one, is I am not missing out on my protein. I'm not missing out on my protein, and you should not miss out on your protein. There's a lot of research now that we have. Maybe not a lot, but we now have enough research to suggest that that women who are going through menopause and women ages 40 and up should begin to increase their amounts of protein intake. This is shown to be very, very beneficial overall. And let me just read some of this. That at the ages of 40 to 50, additional protein helps to boost energy intake, and it helps to promote fat loss, muscle retention, and healthy weight. So it's really important that women who are ages 40 and up, or who are in that age range, are not missing out on protein. So it's definitely important, and there are things that we can do. Very small changes in diet by upping protein can definitely help to reduce symptoms of menopause, severe consequences associated with hormone loss. Number two, I am not drinking alcohol on a regular basis. So why? What we have seen in the research and what I have personally experienced is that alcohol in general, my body just doesn't want to tolerate it in the ways that it used to. It can, according to the research, can cause increase in hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, mood swings, and change your intimacy, right? Your enjoyment with intimacy, not in a positive way. So it's definitely something that you want to think about as you are in the age of menopause. What adjustments can you make, and is alcohol something that you need to continue? I would say that definitely not something on a regular basis that you should be consuming. And I personally know that I noticed it in my body. My body just didn't tolerate it as well, made me feel more dehydrated, just generally made me feel more tired, and it just isn't really worth it, to be honest, because I kind of lose out on like 1 or 2 days. I really, really like being productive. I love to exercise or just do other things, to be honest, and I can't do those things if I'm laying in the bed recovering from alcohol. Even just little bits is kind of crazy, but it's just not worth it. It affects the hydration and the hormones, and just not worth it overall. The next thing that I'm not doing is I'm not doing cardio only workouts. This was something that I was able to get away with back many years ago. I could just do cardio. I really didn't have to focus on much of anything else, to be honest, with my workouts or with my workout routine. And I really didn't have to focus on necessarily having a routine. I could really just get in there and do cardio, and I would see the effects of that. I could do cardio 3 or 4 days a week, and I would see positive results. I would see my body leaning out. I would see the fat pockets beginning to disappear, but that is not the case anymore. cardio is not going to get you there. At least for me, what I'm noticing is it's not going to get me there. So I know that for me, I began incorporating heavy lifting, very strategic lifting into my routine. And to be honest, let me share with you guys that I am doing this 6-week shred with Melissa Neal. If you've heard of Melissa Neal, she is a YouTuber. I will link her channel below, but she has this program for women to help with weight loss and really gaining muscle and really optimizing nutrition, weight, and fitness during the menopausal years. And she, I believe, is such a gem, such a great asset in this space, because she's really done the work and the research specifically in this population of women. And I really love some of the work that she's doing. So I will link it below, but I am on that 6-week program and I'm already starting to see some of the positive results. So if you're interested in me sharing that with you, let me know below. But I definitely am working with her program, and I'm starting to see positive impacts and positive effects. And I'd love to take you along on that journey if that's something that you're interested in. Maybe I can share with you some of the befores and the afters and some of the struggles that I'm having, because she does have a pretty intense eating plan. And I'm working at it. You know, it's a process and it does take time, but I'm doing what I can, and already I'm seeing positive results. But next that I'm not doing is I am not doing intermittent fasting. And I'm actually kind of surprised to hear myself saying that. I have been an avid intermittent faster for years. I don't even remember when I started. It's been a long time. And it's always worked for me, to be honest. I was a 1 meal a day girl for years, and that really, really worked well for me for many years. But what I've noticed in the last 4 to 5 years is that my body is not really loving that. So I'm willing to make the adjustment and the change, because the goal for me is always health. The goal for me is wellness. The goal for me is to optimize my health, my nutrition, and my wellness in order for me to have the best life that I can. And I want that for you too. And so, yeah, I am willing to change and to adjust and to do what my body needs to do. And with that, let me just tell you a little bit about me, because I don't think I did so initially. So I'm Nicole. I'm a former overworked nurse. And here on this channel, I talk about things related to health, wellness, nutrition, and travel. And I am creating the life that I want to live and helping you to create the life that you want to live, rather than the one that has been assigned to you. I love to share with you information about health, wellness, nutrition, so that you can live your best life, because I personally believe that health is wealth. And I believe that it's important for you to enjoy this season of your life, and that one of the most important ways for you to do that is for you to have good health. So I'm here to help you optimize your health and live a good life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please go ahead and put a like on this video, subscribe to my channel, share this video with someone that you know, share it with a woman who is over 40 or who is nearing 40. Sharing the video really, really helps. But also, I want this information to get out to women, because sometimes we have to do things different if we want different results, right? So another thing that I am not doing is low carbs. I can't say that I've been a huge low carb person in the past. I've never really put myself on a low carb diet, but naturally, as someone who was an intermittent faster or who was an OMADer, right, doing 1 meal a day, naturally you're doing low carbs, even if that's not the intention, right? Naturally, I was falling into low carbs, but I'm definitely not doing that anymore, especially because I am in the gym more regularly. I'm getting myself on a schedule to do weight training more consistently with Melissa Neal's program. And with that, I recognize that I need carbs. When I was just doing cardio, I could really do that fasted. I didn't really need carbs in my life in order to do a lot of cardio. I could run, I could, get on the treadmill and go for 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, an hour, hour and a half without any carbs. And it was okay. It worked for me back then. But at this stage, in order to lift weights, in order to push myself to go to where I need to go, in order to do what I need to do with this training program, I have to have some carbs, and I'm okay. And I am actually learning to enjoy them. Now, I don't really do much processed food, so I don't really do any processed carbs or much in the way of processed carbs to begin with, but I've learned to not be afraid of carbs, etc. So if that's something that you're struggling with, at least for me, whenever my default, when I felt like I was gaining a little bit of weight, my default was to cut down on my carbs. And now that's not really my default. I don't default to that anymore. I'm defaulting to making sure that I get adequate protein. At least 1 gram per day per pound of weight is what's recommended. And so for me, that's around 140 grams of protein a day that I'm striving for each day, and making sure that I'm getting healthy carbs in order for me to get in the exercise and activity that I need to. And of course, one thing that for me I need to ensure that I'm not doing is I need to ensure that I'm not under eating, right? Because that actually causes the body to store more fat. It wants to hang on to the things that it has. And so not having enough food is also not beneficial, especially for women over 40. So you want to make sure that you're getting adequate nutrition and not defaulting to trying to like starve yourself with these extreme diets. Another thing that I'm not doing is I'm not willing to continue to do things that don't work. So what does that mean? That means for me that rather than thinking back and trying to remind myself of the things that worked in the past and trying to revisit those, I'm accepting and realizing that I am a new version of myself, and I'm trying to think forward. I'm trying to think of what can work for me now and in the future. So rather than thinking about the 20-year-old version of myself, right, and what would she have done in this situation, I'm actually reminding myself to think of the 65-year-old version of myself, and I am asking that version of myself what she would have wanted me to do now in order for her to be healthy. And I believe that she would say, try something new, do something that works for other women at this stage. Don't starve yourself, don't cut out all the things that you enjoy, but rather find something that works well for your body and stick with it over the long term. I think that she would tell me not to do any extreme dieting or extreme diet plans. Those are just not consistent with who I am in general. I'm not a dieter, but rather I think she would tell me to take the time that I needed to kind of listen to my body, to discover what works for me so that I can do it long term. That's what I think that she would tell me. So what would the older version of yourself tell you? That's what I want to know. What would she tell you? The next thing that I'm not doing is I am not allowing stress and high stress to be my baseline. I am not allowing myself to function at a high level of stress all the time. I've made some major changes in my life to ensure to the best of my ability, to whatever's in my control, to make sure that I'm not constantly under stress. And I do talk about that in some other videos. If you have watched a couple of my previous videos, you know that I just recently got off a sabbatical, and like I said, I'm a former overworked nurse. I don't work hard like that anymore. I don't believe in hard work anymore. I'm trying to live a life of ease and peace for a number of reasons, but most especially because of my health, because I value my health, because I realize that stress increases cortisol, and increased cortisol is detrimental to my health. It causes storage of body fat, it causes decline in cognitive functioning, it causes loss of bone mass. There are so many detrimental impacts of cortisol over the long term. High blood pressure, eventually leading to stroke because of cortisol. So I believe that it's really important to control stress, and I've definitely made it a priority in my life. And I will probably, if you're interested, I can share a little bit more about some of the major changes I've made in my life in the last 3 to 4 years to reduce my stress significantly, because I think it's one of the most important things that we can do, especially if you're a Black woman watching this. You need to reduce your stress. We need to reduce our stress. We don't want any premature death over here. The next thing that I'm not doing is I'm not avoiding building muscle. I'm not avoiding trying to bulk up. I remember back in the past when I would tell people that I was lifting weights, they're like, no, you better not do that. You're gonna bulk up. You're gonna get too big. Yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Luckily, there's enough evidence now that we know that it's good for women to lift heavy, especially women over 40. According to the data, we found that once a woman is over 40, she loses muscle at a rate of 1% per year. So, if you're not lifting weights and you're not building muscle, you are going to be losing muscle. And so you do have a couple options. You can ignore it and not lift weights, right? Or accept that this is just the reality. This is the part of living, and try to combat that. I think it's important that we as women over 40, we work to combat that we're lifting. And I've been working. Y'all see a little something going on here. But I don't know that I'll bulk up, but I don't mind putting on a bit of muscle. I would love to have some muscle and some bulk with age and over time, rather than losing my muscle, because I know what that looks like. I'm a nurse. I've worked in the nursing homes. I know what it looks like to lose muscle and to lose fat. So I think it's really important that we work on that. And let's see. Yeah, I think that is it. That is all that I have. So those are the things that I have changed, that I'm not doing. What are some of the things that you have decided to change over the last few years? Or if you're a woman over 40 or over 50, what are you noticing that is helping you, or some major changes that maybe you didn't see coming? Because, girl, this is an interesting season of life, but I would love to share more of what I'm learning with you. So until the next time, I'll see you soon. Bye.